People often get confused anxiety and an anxiety disorder. Now, everyone gets anxiety to some degree, everyone, but not everyone has an anxiety disorder. Normal things to get stressed out. For example, if you got a job interview or, you're going to some kind of event where you got to go on stage or, things like that. It's like normal anxiety. Half the world would get nervous with things like that. Then you have an anxiety disorder where no matter what situation you're in, you're always suffering from anxiety. Like, for example, me, I feel like I have an anxiety disorder because there's days that I got nothing going on and I still feel physically sick. And then people be like, well, what are you stressed about? What's bothering you? And at that moment, really nothing. It's just, it comes out of the blue. Like there's some days I feel fine and then there's some days I don't. And people be like, well, maybe something happened, when it's not always the case. This is where people don't understand enough of what an anxiety disorder is. Regular anxiety, when you're worrying about something in the future happening, once you get that over with, you're fine after. You're nervous, you got to go on stage and you got to present yourself to a whole crowd of audience. You're nervous, you start getting anxiety. But then once you get that over with, once that is done with, you feel fine. Now, an anxiety disorder it's a whole different thing. It never goes away entirely, or it goes away and returns, meaning it never leaves you. You always suffer to the point where it ruins your life. It takes things away from your life. Things that you were able to used to do, you feel like it's nearly impossible to do. It just ruins someone's life. It gives depression. It just ruins everything. It's just a whole effect, a whole domino effect. And people don't understand it, unfortunately, unless you have the condition. There's people where they have it so bad they can't function. They can't go to work because the anxiety gets in the way. Some people have to drop out of school, college, or whatever the scenario is because the anxiety is just so bad it's overtaking their life. And, you get idiots that'll be like, you can't let it ruin you, man. You can't let it take over your life. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, I know that, but it's doing it and I have no control of it. This is why I feel for certain people like that, there should be some kind of a disability where we could get on and get paid by the state. And maybe there is, I don't know for sure, but I feel like, people like that should have that right to do it, because it's just people don't understand how hard it is when you think of it like this. You have a cold. You don't feel good. You don't feel like going to work. You don't feel like doing anything. Well, anxiety is basically like that. And the only thing that sucks is it doesn't go away. See, at least a cold, after a few days or so, maybe a week or so, it'll go away. It'll pass. You feel better. This is just something that sticks with you your whole life, most likely. Some people learn to cope with it. Some people, it's just unbearable. Some people might find this to help with it, but doesn't mean it's going to help everyone. It may help you, and that's great, but it may not help me, And that's the thing that sucks. Some people automatically think because it helped me doing this, it'll automatically help you too, when that's not always the case. It's worth a shot to try, but it doesn't mean it may work out. And then some people can't work, and then they don't work because of it. And then there's times where the anxiety goes away, where you feel a little better sometimes. And then that's when you get these idiots that'll be like, well, it looks like you're doing a lot better now. Now maybe you could, apply, get a job. I know it was hard for you to do so at the time because the anxiety was through the roof. But now you look like you're, doing a lot better. Now you should apply. But what people don't understand is it'll flare up again. When you start to do when you leave your comfort zone, that's when the anxiety starts. That's what an anxiety disorder does. It ruins your life. It literally ruins your life. You're afraid to do anything, because it's not even like me personally. It's not afraid of doing something. It's afraid of doing something because I'm going to get physically sick from it. It's like it's saying no to you. It's like your parents, for example, telling you can't do this, you can't do that. And that's like what the anxiety is doing, because deep down you want to do something, whatever it is. Like there's even fun things people want to do, but for some reason when that event becomes a thing, the anxiety for some reason just starts up. You start feeling sick and you say to yourself, why? I want to do this. I want to go here. I want to go there. I'm not nervous particularly about this event. Like I want to go, but it's like the anxiety just starts up. It's like the anxiety just wants to ruin your life to the point where now you don't want to do the event because by doing the event, the anxiety is going to make you feel sick. And that's what you fear, feeling sick. That's at least with my scenario, feeling sick. And that's why I end up, canceling the event. And then people be like, why don't you want to go here? I don't understand what's so nerve-wracking about the event. And the truth is, I don't understand either. It's not that I'm nervous. It's just the anxiety comes for no friggin' reason, it feels, I don't know if people understand where I'm coming from. Maybe people that are in the same shoes, but like people that probably don't have this problem don't understand. And I could probably understand how they don't understand because they don't have it. So they're probably like, but the thing that sucks is people always jump down to the gun and think they know when they don't know. It's just crazy how bad mental health can affect somebody's life. And it comes in so many packages, It comes in so many packages. Schizophrenia, just a whole bunch of things. It's just, it sucks when your own brain is taking over you. It's like your own you is betraying you, if that makes any sense. It's like, it's just crazy. And that's what it feels like with me. Like, I feel like I'm doing a little bit better now, but I feel like I can't leave my comfort zone. Because I feel like if I leave my comfort zone, it'll flare up again. And that's what people don't understand. They think when you start doing better, you can just get out there and, do this, do that. And they don't understand it'll start up again. 9 out of 10 times it'll start up again. It doesn't ever sadly go away. Maybe for some people, who knows, but I know I'm going to have this unfortunately, this problem to the day I die. But I just try and stay in my comfort zone. I know a lot of people say you got to leave your comfort zone, but it's not easy. It's not easy. Because how I look at it as, if you're in your comfort zone and it's making you feel all right, why ruin it? I guess you could say, what I mean? Like, what does it matter to leave your comfort zone? In the end, nothing's going to matter. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say out of this is people automatically think you're doing better. Now it's time you start, getting out of your comfort zone. And then that's when shit starts. It's like when something's working, it's like the same scenario of saying when something's working, why mess with it? Why touch it? It's doing fine. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Why make adjustments to something that's just fine? That's like how I look at it with anxiety. You're feeling better. You're doing whatever you've been doing lately, whatever life you've been living, where you're feeling good at this point. If that's what's keeping you decent or good, whatever you want to call it, stick with it. Don't now try and, how I look at it as, don't try and challenge yourself, because that's when you might start feeling sick again. I'm not telling people what they should or shouldn't do. This is just my opinion. People could do what they want to do. But I feel like leaving your comfort zone sometimes is not a good thing, in a way. You get a lot of people be like, well, you can't just live under a rock. And it's true, but, if someone's happy, if someone's doing better the way, whatever they're doing that's keeping them in a better position, don't disturb it. That's how I look at it as. Maybe I'm wrong for what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for what I'm saying. Just maybe. I'm not the type of guy that likes to say, I'm right. I'm always right. I know what I'm saying. Maybe sometimes I don't know what I'm saying, and I admit it. But that's the thing. People just can't leave well left alone. If somebody's doing better, it's like medication. If some people take a medication and it's helping them, I guess just stay on the medication. A lot of people aren't for the medication. Me personally, I don't know. But I admit I do take antidepressants, and I notice ever since I took them, I do feel a bit better. I don't know if it's the pills or maybe my mind thinking it's the pills that are working. I don't know. But at this point, I don't even want to mess with it. I did get off the dosage. I'm only on 20 milligrams. But I'm afraid to just stop, because I don't know what could happen, So at this point, I just stay on it. It is what it is. What am I going to do? A lot of people be like, don't get on that shit. It may make you worse. And it may. But honestly, it felt like it made my life a little easier in a weird way. Because before I was on anything, I was in really bad shape. Like, I'm not saying I don't feel it anymore. Like, there are some days it gets flare-ups, but every single day was bad. Every single day I felt like shit. Not one day could I feel normal. Had no appetite. Always felt like I was going to get nauseous, just gagging, and it was just shit feelings. Heart racing, sweating a little bit, having trouble sleeping at night, getting attacks. And this is how I'd live every day, to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore, and I tried to find something I can do, and that's when I went into therapy, which I feel the therapy part's really pointless in my opinion. I mean, just in my opinion, at least. I don't feel like, what they say is so fucking stupid. Just get a job. Like it's so fucking easy. Here I am feeling sick every day. I'm going to go apply for, the medication part. When they put me on the medication part, that's when I started to notice I felt a little better. So maybe for some people it works, I'm not trying to say go on meds. I'm not trying to like hook anyone here on drugs. That's not what I'm saying. But if you feel you want to give it a shot, do what you want to do. That's all I can say. It felt like it helped me a little bit, Then I weaned off a little bit. Now I'm just staying on the 20 milligrams, which is a very low dosage. And I could probably even get off. Maybe it's like I want to try and get off it, but at the same time, I don't want to disturb anything. I've been feeling a little bit better. Well, a lot better, actually, I should say. I still get it, but compared to how I was, I look at it as an improvement. I'm happier. I have more of an appetite now. All in all, I still can't stand the world I'm in, but at least I feel comfortable, where I don't feel sick, where I can just try and tolerate it as best as possible. But with that being said, if the world was going to end tomorrow, I'd be in my glory, because who the hell want to live this shit? Who the hell want to, pay bills and work and pay bills and work and pay? I'd rather be 6 feet under than do that any time of the day, or, any time of the year. But, but this is where I'm trying to get this all at, where comfort zone, If somebody feels comfortable doing this certain task, let them be. If they want to try to get out of it a little is one thing, but you shouldn't force someone. You shouldn't force somebody to do something they don't want to do. That's basically all I'm trying to say. You shouldn't force someone out of their comfort zone. If they want to take a step and see, challenge themselves, that's up to them. But that's up to them. You shouldn't have the right to tell somebody what they should or shouldn't do with their lives. It's their life at the end of the day, And that's the thing. Right away, people be like, you're doing a lot better, man. Why don't you maybe, apply for this? Or why don't you maybe go into law school? And then right there, that would make my anxiety flare to the roof. Plus, I don't want to do it on top of it. I don't want to do that crap. I just don't feel like doing that shit. So I would definitely get anxiety for that, because just the fact that I don't want to do it. But the crazy thing is, and I said a little while ago, there's even things like that I wanted to do that anxiety got in the way of, where now I feel I'm able to do it a little bit now. Just going to an amusement park, I used to get anxiety. I don't know why. I'm not afraid of roller coasters. I'm not afraid of, it's not, it's just the event, I guess, just gets you all keyed up for whatever reason. I'm not afraid that, what if we don't make it there safely? It's not any of that. It's just weird. It's just the anxiety is just a piece of POS, I like to say, for short. A POS that just likes to ruin your life, just take away your fun and joy to the point where you have no joy. You have none of that. You're just down in the dumps, depressed. And that's what was happening with me. How could you not be depressed at a situation like that? Not being able to do the things you want to do. I could understand the anxiety flaring up for the things you don't want to do, but it was even flaring up for the things I did want to do. And that's the part that's messed up. At the time, I would never even understand this meaning until it happened to me. Now is why I kind of understand it, That's the thing with people. When they're not going through a certain thing, they just don't understand, and that's what sucks. And I know a lot of people try to be helpful, but deep down, they're really not. They're making the person more irritated, little do they know. And then you got people that are just assholes to begin with. It just goes both ways, sadly. Now, with this all being said, back to the medication part. Medication doesn't always work. Some people will be like, they'll swear on the medication when that's not always the case. Just that it works, like I say all the time, like just that something helps you doesn't mean it's going to help me. I can try, I guess that's all we can do, but doesn't mean it's going to help, somebody. It may not. But, the therapy part I feel is just useless. Then the funny thing is, a lot of times they right away, like you have, let's say, not so major problems. Right away they want to put you on medication when I feel you don't really need it. A lot of times they just right away, instead of even like giving regular therapy with you, they're just right away be like, here, we'll put you on this will help with your concentration and shit like that. And that part is like a red flag in my opinion, because they're not even trying to find out the problem you have. They're just right away counting on drugs. But I feel like maybe, and like I said, I'm not saying I'm right what I'm saying, but I think people with generalized anxiety disorder, an anxiety disorder, maybe there's some medications that could help. Sadly, it ain't going to get rid of it entirely, but maybe it could help people feel 80%, at least 70% better than what they were. And at that point, I'll take anything over how I felt years back. Because many years ago, you could tell I was just in a very bad situation. I was at the urge, and I kid you not, people, I'm going to say this, man. I was at the urge of, I was thinking about it every day. Now, I admit I don't think about it. But however, with this whole, seeing what life is, I really don't want to be here to experience it, but I'm here. And I'm just trying to make the best of it, But at those times, I was really getting the thoughts of just wanting to just, do it. I never planned the day. I never said today's going to be the day I'm going to do it, but I just had the thoughts. I was just thinking about it all the time. Like every single day, I just kept thinking about it. How I just wish there was some way I can just do it and just have the balls, I just wanted the feeling to stop. I just wanted the fucking misery to stop. And it was just so bad. It was every day. It was like the only time I was at peace is when I was sleeping. That was the only time I was at peace. And then there was times I couldn't even sleep because it was so unbearable. Like the symptoms were just so bad. I couldn't sleep. I was just tossing and turning, going through hell. Seeing the time, the clock just flying by and knowing, oh my God, it's already sunrise and I didn't even go to sleep yet. And it was horrible. And now I got to feel bad enough I didn't sleep all night. Now I got to suffer all day with it again. And who knows if the next night, if I'm going to be able to sleep that night. And it was just for no reason. There was nothing stressful really going on in my life at that time other than that. But there was no reason why. It was just coming for no reason, it feels. And that's what an anxiety disorder sadly does. Whereas regular anxiety comes where you got to do certain things, like you're stressing for the next day at work or whatever. Or if, let's say, you're in school, you have a test, you're nervous. I hope I pass, man. I can't fail. I can't flunk this class because then I'm going to be left back, or I'm going to, whatever the hell. So, that's normal anxiety to worry about that. But this is it's abnormal. People don't understand the differences sometimes. And that's what sucks. Every day I'm feeling stressed out, but there's nothing going on. There's no event. There's no upcoming test. There's no upcoming whatever the hell at work. It's just another normal casual day, I guess you could say. But yet I'm feeling these feelings and I just don't understand it. And that's what the anxiety disorder part is. It just gets joy out of ruining your life. And yeah, a lot of people be like, you gotta fight it. And it's true, you gotta, but it's hard. Some people just don't understand. They make it sound so freaking easy, and it's not. Yeah, you can't let it ruin your life, but it does. It does. And that's the thing people don't understand. It's hard. It's hard. Someone once told me one day you're gonna overcome this, and you're gonna be being a speaker talking about this to other people. And now I feel like this day has come. I mean, like I said, I'm not cured, but I feel like I'm doing a lot better than I was. But there are still times I go really bad, and it sucks. If I leave my comfort zone, I know it'll go bad. Because there's just certain things I feel safe or comfortable doing, and then when it leads to a different route, that's when I already know it's going to start. And then sometimes the truth is too, you start because you anticipate, where when you think about something, like, I know if I do this, it's going to bring the anxiety on. So basically you're telling yourself that you're going to bring the anxiety on, to the point where it brings the anxiety on. It's just such a huge vicious cycle. It's like sometimes you cause it without realizing, if that makes any sense. It's hell. It's hell. It's the worst. It's the worst thing. It's one of the worst feelings I've ever experienced. It's horrible. And people could probably relate to me on this one here that I'm going to say. The anxiety is so uncomfortable, especially when you get physical symptoms, tightness in your chest or in your stomach or whatever you feel. And then there's times where it feels like it eases off and you're like, holy shit, I feel like a huge weight just lifted over my whole body, where now I feel good. And you feel like a nice relaxing feeling, and you're like soaking it in. It's almost like, think of it like this. You have your socks on all day. Your feet are covered in socks. It's probably sweating. It's probably itching. When you take the sock off, it feels so good to just air your foot out, your feet, whatever, if you're taking both socks off, which, feels so good. You get itchy. It feels good to scratch, and it's just letting the air get in there. Well, that's like with the anxiety. The anxiety makes you feel like such shit that when it finally lifts just a little bit, or even entirely, you're like, holy shit, I feel so relaxed now. I feel at ease. I'm not like tensed up or like, keyed up, whatever you want to call it. I actually feel relaxed. Like, it just feels so fucking good when it goes away. And then, of course, it teases you because a few seconds later, it comes right back. Well, sometimes that whole day you could just feel fine, and then the next day it'll start, or whenever the hell it wants to come back. But that's what it does to me. That's what it's always done to me, where there's times I feel good, but then there's just times I don't. And there was more times not feeling good than there was more times feeling good. And that's the thing why I was having a nervous breakdown. I was going through hell, man. And I just don't understand why this is. Like, why did this happen? Why am I going through this? And that's a question, that's an answer I can't, that's a question I don't know how to put it to this. Like, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. It's like, why is my own body doing this to me? Because that's literally what it is. It's like your own brain causing these problems. Just like with schizophrenia. Supposedly you hear, like with schizophrenia, you hear voices supposedly. I don't have that, but for people that do, they hear voices. And it's like your own body trolling you. That's what it feels like. It's like your own body just causing hell on you. And I'd be like, why would my own body do this to me? Like, I'm me, it just don't make sense. It's like, what the hell, man? And it's just, people don't understand mental health well, There's even some mental health conditions I may not understand. But you know what? If somebody tells me what they're going through, I could totally understand the pain and the misery that they're going through. I may not exactly know what it feels like to have what that person has, but I could totally understand what he's going through, Even though I can't feel it, I don't know what it feels like, but I could understand the torment, the pain and misery that it's causing on that person. And then you got people that just don't understand. And you get even people that make fun of for things like this. This is where bullying comes into play. Well, same shit. You're picking on someone, meanwhile, you don't want to be picked on. Do you want to be picked on? No, right? So why should we pick on someone else? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And the thing that sucks as well, excuse me, life is hard as it is. Just being fine, just being healthy, which is great. But even though life is still challenging and life is hard, but at least if you're in good shape, money-wise, health-wise, mental-wise, at least you could somehow just try and hang on. You could hang on, you could verbally grasp it. But all kidding aside, you could hold on at least. It still sucks, but at least you were able to hold on with a tight grip. But when you have anxiety and just, you name it, all these type of problems, health problems, mental problems, you name it, it's hard to hold on. You start slipping. Your hands start to slip. That's what it feels like. It slips. You're unable to do certain things another person can do. It's to the point where you can't function. And people don't understand that. People don't realize how hard it is for that person to function. It gets into your daily to daily life. It gets into your life where you can't have a life like everyone else. What this person's able to do, it's like you start to even say, how the hell do they do it? Well, because they don't have what you have. And then they be like to you, how can't you do it? Well, because I have something you don't have. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy, man. Just sucks when it's so bad when it gets into your daily to day life and people don't understand. And then when you try and maybe find a way to cope with it, and let's say you do that well, now they say, like I keep saying over and over, because this is something that you always hear people say, well, looks like you made some really, really significant improvements. Let's try to, do this now. Maybe you could get back into school. Maybe you get back into, and right there, you just caused the man's anxiety. I know for sure you caused my anxiety to go up. Just hearing that word school would probably make me sick, mentally, physically, you name it. And plus, because I really don't want to go through that bullshit. So yeah, that'd definitely make me sick either way. But people just don't understand, man. They think if the problem's cured, they can just go back. If it's cured, but that's the thing, you can't cure it. You can only live to cope. You can only find a way to learn how to live with it. And sometimes you got to sacrifice certain things that you enjoy doing that you can no longer do in order to feel okay again. Because when you start to do these certain things, the anxiety just gets in the way of it. And yes, people be like, you can't let it ruin your life, but that's the thing. It's hard. You can't just make it go away. Like you have a cold, you got to wait it out. Well, anxiety, it's the thing is that it just ruins your life. It's like a leash. That's just what anxiety feels like, a leash. It prevents you from doing things that you want to do, and of course things that you don't want to do but have to do because you got to survive. But either or, it gets in the way of it both, and that's what sucks. So now you try to avoid certain things, you start to feel a little better, and then people just right away try and force you back into that scenario again, and then that's when it all backfires. That's when it all restarts. But anyway, guys, I am going to wrap it up for now. I hope this video was very helpful. I hope a lot of people can understand where I'm coming from, because I know anxiety, especially in today's life, how the hell don't you have anxiety? But I know anxiety in today's life is a huge factor. And how, like I said, how the hell can it be? How could it not be? Because look at how we're living, man. Look how everything's just getting more expensive. Life in itself is to blame, because look at what life is. Look how life is. This is a lot of reasons why anxiety's rising, why mental health in general is rising. But also things that you want to do, anxiety gets in the way of, and that's the part that really sucks. I could understand it maybe getting in the way of things you don't want to do, but getting in the way of things you want to do, my God, that's just crazy. But in all, with the way life is, this is why a lot of this is happening into today's. Like back then, you didn't hear this much. Or what it was, people probably always had anxiety, but it's just people didn't understand it much at the time. Like it wasn't really something addressed it. Now, mental health, we look at somewhat more than we did back then. And plus, in general, it is rising because everything else is rising. It all goes in a domino effect, But for those that have anxiety, I truly know what you're going through. And I'm sure you guys know what I was going through and what I still am going through time to time. But I do knock on wood, although there is no wood around here. So it's going to have to be metal for now, that I don't ever go back into that horrible state again. I still get some days that's really bad, but compared to how it used to be, I think I'd rather take it today than how it was back then. And all in all, I just wish it would go away. It's just a disease that just never fully goes away that I wish would. I wish there was just a way that it would just go away entirely and never come back. But unfortunately, it's just something that will always return. And then when you do certain things, it just flares up again. And that's why some people avoid certain things, because they're afraid to bring it on again, And that's where it's called leaving your comfort zone, But anyway, I'm going to stop blabbering my mouth like I always do and call it a day for now. Hope everyone stays blessed as best as possible. And that's it for now. Peace out, guys.